Welcome again, dear student, as we continue with computer studies in Form 1. Remember, we are in topic number 6, and this is now part number 3. And topic number 6, if you can remember, we are talking about the operating system. We started in part 1 by defining the operating system, looking at the classification of the operating systems, and we looked at all those. And in part 2, remember, basically we're looking at the functions of the operating system. We looked at the job processing or scheduling. We looked at the resource allocation, memory management, input and output management. Those are the functions. Communication control and management, error handling, interrupt handling. All those were some of the things that we talked about as the functions of the operating system. But last time again, if you can remember, we also looked at a certain part, a small part, where we're looking at the factors to consider when you are choosing an operating system, since there are a lot of operating systems outside there on the market. But then there are the factors that should guide you. We looked at factors like the hardware configuration. You look at the memory capacity, the processor, application software intended for the what applications you are going to use, and also cost of the operating system, number of users that operating system can support. All those things we talked about in the previous lesson, that is part 2. Now in part 3, basically we have a few things to look at in this part 3, because in this part it is the last one. It is the very last one. So we are going to see how the operating system organize information. We're going to see, because we have talked that the operating system is the main software. For you to work with your computer, it has first to have an operating system, because you work on the application, but the application on its own, it cannot command the hardware. Therefore, major task or job is done by the operating system. So we are going to see, how does this operating system work or organize information? So it's very, very important, because we will now know what happens when we are sitting on the computer and working on the computer. So let us proceed by looking at how these operating systems organize information. So most operating systems organize information in a three-tier hierarchy. So there are three ways in which the operating system organize information. How does it organize its information? There are, number one, drives. There are folders or directories. So folders are also called directories. And there are also files. So there are drives, folders, and files. So this is the first one being the drive, the folder, the files. So that's how information is organized in your computer, or that's how an operating system organizes information. So how Windows operating system organize information in the hard disk or the drive C? Remember, we said number one is the drive. So how does the OS work with the drives? So the drives are the hard disk or the other locations that you save the information. Like we have the drive. When you put your flash disk, it will tell you drive, the drives E or drive H, drive whatever. So that is the location or the drive. So how does the information, is information organized in the hard disk? Now, the C, it is the main location, or the hard drive itself, where you have installed the operating system there. Therefore, it becomes the C itself. So how does information work, or how does it settle there? So this is how it is. In the drive C, you will find that first in the C. So this is C, like the major drive. So in there, you find that there are folders here, like folder 1, folder 2, folder 3. Then there are subfolders or directories like that. So first in the C, then you can have the folders, first folders, then folders. Inside the folder, you can also put another folder. Or in the C again, you can have straight put the files. You can have files in C. So in drive C, you can have files. So again, in folder, the first line of folders, you can have also the files. And in the folder, you can also have subfolders or some folders put inside another folder, and that folder is found in C. So that is how it is. And in those folders, that's where you can find the file again. So you can see, where do you find folders? Folders are found in drives. So for example, in drive C, you can find first line of folders, but inside those folders, you can also find other folders inside. And inside those folders, sometimes you can also have other folders, or else you can have files, your files. So that's how information is organized in the drive C. We talked of files. A file is a collection of related data given a unique name for ease of access, manipulation, and storage on a backing storage. So a file is a collection of related data. A collection of related data, that one is called a file. So a file, a collection of related data. So every file has the following details. So remember this. In a file, number one, you have a unique name and an optional extension. So remember here we're talking a name. A file should have a name and should have an extension. We'll talk about the extension. The name and extension are separated by a period or a dot. For example, if the name is June, then you find that there is June.doc. June.doc. So in the file, that is the file name. So the file name, you find that June.doc. So doc is an extension. .doc, not just doc, but .doc is an extension. Yeah, so also a file has the size, date, and time the file was created. So in the file itself, you find that it has got the size. What is the size, the storage capacity measured now in bytes now. In bytes, remember the KBs, the kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes. So the size, how big is this file? And the date, when was it created, and the time when that file was created. Now, files have got types. They have got types. There are three types of files. Number one is a system file. System files. So system files, they contain information that is critical for the operation of the computer. So system files, that the special files for the operations. The system itself, you have to know. You don't work with the system. The system is by its own. You only work on applications. Remember this. Then there are application files. Application files hold programs and are executable. So they have a program and they are executable. Executed means you can work on them, you can install them, you can execute for them, you can put them into the computer so that you work on this same what they contain, the program which they hold. Then there are the data files. So data files contain user-specific data. So data files, they are the files that contain a user data. What you were doing on the computer, you have saved. That one is the data file, whether it's a music, whether it's a document, or whatever is there. You see, the user who has saved that file. But application files, they are the ones that contain a program that when you put it there, then you will be working on that program. So I guess you know the types of files: system files, application files, and data files. So here let's look at the file extensions and whether it is a system, application, or data file. So let's categorize them. Let's see their categories here. So um, the extension type, the file type, and description. When you see .doc, that one is a data file. A description should be a Microsoft Word document file. When you see .txt, that is also a data file. It means it is a plain text file. TXT is a text. So it's a plain text file created using the Notepad or disk operating system editor. So sometimes you don't have a word processor, but you can also type a document, but that one you use a Notepad or a disk operating system editor, which is it will have .txt. And there is also something you find other files, they are written .tif. .tif, that one is a data file as well, and that one is a graphical file created using applications such as Adobe Photoshop. So TIF, they are the graphical files, but it's also a data file. Remember, there is the system files, application files, and data files. So all these three, they are the data files: .doc, .txt, .tif. And what about this one? .exe. This one is an application file. Remember, system file, application file, or data file. So when you see .exe, it's an application file. What does it mean? The file that launches a particular application. For example, winword.exe, pm.70.exe, a number of them. So when you click this one, it means you are going to launch a particular application. It means you are going to install that application so that you work with that application. So remember and be very careful. Don't just click any other file unless you know the type of file you are clicking, because this one, it's an application where you know this is an application and you want to work with that application. So if you don't know that application, don't click it because you don't know. That's how sometimes the viruses come into the computer, whereby you click an exe file, then you have launched a virus. So be very careful there. And again, .bat, this is a system file containing a series of commands loaded during the boot up. So .bat again, it's a system file. So this one, you don't work with this one without knowing what it is. And finally, there is .sys is system files. So system, which means they are the system files that perform fundamental operation in a computer. So these ones, they perform a special file .sys. So they are very, very important files. They have system files there, which are special now for the running or assisting the operating system. So you only click these ones when you know what you are doing. But for the data files, you can open and see what is there when there is .doc, .txt, .tif. But .exe, .bat, and .sys, you don't click them. You don't open them unless you know what you are doing for sure. Folders and directories. Folders or directories. So a folder is a named storage location where related files can be stored. So a folder, it's just like a briefcase. It's just a briefcase where different files or related files, you put them together there. So it's like a bag containing different files. So that one is a folder. So it's a location where related files can be stored. What about subfolder? Subfolder or directory. So it's a folder that may be created inside another folder or directory. So inside the briefcase, usually the orange or yellow briefcase there, you find that when you click that one, you open, there's also another yellow briefcase there. So it means that one is a subfolder. So a subfolder is a folder that is contained in another folder. Drives. So the drives, the operating system recognizes storage media or devices as drives. So all the storage media, whether it's a flash, whether it's a CD or hard drive or the external one, whatever, those ones are recognized as drives. They are recognized as drives. So the operating system knows all those storage devices as drives. So it may be given labels A to Z. So that's why when you put your flash there, it will give you H or drive E, drive F, whatever there. So it recognizes all those storage devices as drives. So to this far, we have come to the end of this topic number 6, whereby we are looking at the operating system. So the operating system, we have looked at the definition in part 1 and the functions in part 2. Now we are looking at how the operating system organizes information. Basically, we centered on drives, folders, and files. We have looked at the types of files that are there, the system files, application files, the data files. Remember those things, we have looked at them, and by this time you know what is a file. Now we have ended by looking at the folders and directories and the drives. We have looked at the folders as the briefcase that contains related files, but there are also subfolders. Subfolders are folders that are found inside another folder. But drives, they are the storage media or other devices. It can be a printer also. It can be a printer, a scanner that is attached to the computer. That one, an operating system, it recognizes all those things as drives. So it will give them labels like from A to Z. That's why when you put your flash there into the computer, it will say drive H, drive F, drive G, whatever there. So it gives labels from A to Z because it has to recognize what has been attached to it. So I guess by this time you know how an operating system works and organizes information. But next time we are continuing now to know what the computer keyboard is and how it functions. So be there next time as we proceed with the computer keyboard. I thank you so much for your attention. Be there for the next lesson. And I am your teacher, W.A. Mawoa.